It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
It's been awesome, and just the reaction. Obviously, people so excited not only about women's basketball but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving not only myself but just women's sports as a whole.
Caitlin Clark just became the first WNBA player to win Time Athlete of the Year, but not everyone's cheering.
Sheryl, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to Caitlin Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
In a completely unexpected but totally not surprising turn of events, Sheryl Swoopes, a four-time WNBA champion, and now Clark's biggest critic, had some choice words about the win in this video. We're breaking down the controversy, the backlash, and the unexpected way Clark is handling it all. Clark had the perfect opportunity for a comeback. Instead, she did something that left everyone speechless. Here's why her response is a masterclass in grace and leadership.
Grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but and
Picture this Caitlin Clark on top of the world after winning Time Athlete of the Year. But not everyone's popping champagne. Enter Sheryl Swoopes, former WNBA star turned unexpected critic, who's stirring up drama on Gil's Arena podcast.
That's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. It's pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
Instead of congratulating Clark, Swoopes goes on a ramble. She questions the very criteria that led to Clark's win. I'm trying to understand what the criteria is, Swoopes says, her words dripping with skepticism. But Swoopes doesn't stop there. She starts throwing out other names, suggesting they're more deserving. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Fans and analysts are left scratching their heads, wondering what's really going on here.
This is just probably just the impact of the sport, a little bit of it's a little bit of everything, right? So,
Yeah,
when you think about,
you
just think about athletes of this year.
Yeah.
It's her, the swimmer.
What swimmer?
For Olympics.
Katie Ledecky.
Her performance.
Shit, you can put
in
Simone
Olympics.
Biles back in there.
You can put her back in there. Probably LeBron from his.
As we dig deeper into Swoopes' comments, a pattern emerges. This isn't the first time she's taken shots at Clark. Remember when Clark broke the NCAA scoring record? Swoopes was right there, ready to rain on her parade. She questioned whether Clark's achievements were really that impressive given the changes in the game since the record was initially set.
That was just basketball.
So that's what I'm saying. Was it just the performance on the court, or
It's global.
else?
I think it's everything.
Yeah.
What about Asia Wilson, she asks. It's a moment that leaves everyone listening in disbelief. Is this just a slip-up, or is there something more going on here? Swoopes' reaction reveals a deeper conflict bubbling beneath the surface. It's not just about Clark anymore. It's old guard versus new star tradition clashing with the future of women's basketball. Swoopes, once the face of the sport, now finds herself watching from the sidelines as Clark captivates a new generation of fans.
It just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And, sometimes, just as athletes, we are competitive by nature. And, we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't think they deserved, right? When we've been in
The basketball world is left reeling. Swoopes, a player who once inspired countless young athletes, including a young Caitlin Clark, back then now comes across as bitter and out of touch. Her comments spark heated debates on social media, with fans and fellow players weighing in on both sides. But here's where it gets really interesting. While Swoopes is busy casting doubt, Clark's star only seems to shine brighter. Her record-breaking performances and growing fan base speak volumes. The contrast couldn't be clearer, one player looking backward, the other charging full steam ahead into the future of women's basketball.
Crazy year. It's hard to think about. Like, I was basically just starting my senior year of college at this time last year, and then I graduated. I missed my college graduation, got drafted here in New York City, basically moved right to Indianapolis, and basically start like a whole new chapter of your life instantly, and you don't really have much time to adjust. But lucky enough, I had a really great support system and family around, and I'm from the Midwest, so didn't take me too long. But this past year is just.
So how does Clark handle this unexpected criticism? Does she fire back, adding fuel to the fire? Or does she take the high road, rising above the drama? Clark's response to this controversy could define not just her career, but the very future of women's basketball. Get ready, because Clark's about to show us all what she's really made of. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
Fun to reflect back and think about all the amazing things that I was able to accomplish and the people that I got to do it with. I think that's what's made it so special. Is I've had my family with me the whole time, my friends, amazing teammates, amazing coaches, and it wouldn't be possible without all of them. So just really fortunate.
Remember when we said Clark was about to show us what she's made of? Well, her response to the Time Award controversy isn't just suppress-rising, it's downright revolutionary. Clark's handling of this situation is redefining what leadership looks like in women's basketball. While Swoopes is busy questioning her win, Clark's out there breaking records and capturing hearts. But how does she respond to the noise? Does she fire back at her critics? Nope, Clark takes the high road, and it's a move that's left everyone talking.
Of Indiana Fever fans I saw in young girls and the way they were lighting up. I mean, you have represented something so special for the sport, but you've drawn eyes to a game that you've always grown up loving. What does that mean to you?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm so focused and so competitive, and I love the game. I love playing. I love being in front of the fans. But over the course of probably the last 2.5 years, it's all kind of changed where, you know, it's hard to get a ticket whether we're at home or whether we're on the road.
In her Time interview, Clark doesn't just brush off the controversy. She tackles it head-on with a level of maturity that's turning heads. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom came with a refreshing dose of self-awareness.
A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful.
But Clark doesn't stop there. She goes on to highlight the legends who paved the way for her success. And guess who she mentions? Yep, Sheryl Swoopes herself. It's a move that shows Clark's not just a great player, she's a class act off the court too.
Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA. Have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
But Clark doesn't stop there. She goes on to highlight the legends who paved the way for her success. And guess who she mentions? Yep, Sheryl Swoopes herself. It's a move that shows Clark's not just a great player, she's a class act off the court too.
I remember my first WNBA game, one of the best memories of my childhood, and I think very influential in wanting to be a professional basketball player, wanting to be a great person, having those people to look up to and want to be like one day. So I just try to embody that every single day, and I feel like I have good perspective on, like, basketball isn't my everything. Like, yeah, I love it and I get to do it, and it's given me a lot of really great opportunities, but at the same time, you know, win or loss, I feel like I try to be the same person.
The contrast between Clark's approach and Swoopes' comments couldn't be clearer. While Swoopes questions and criticizes, Clark chooses to celebrate and uplift. It's a strategy that's winning her even more fans and silencing her critics in the most effective way possible. But don't think for a second that Clark's kindness is weakness. Her words carry weight, and her actions speak volumes. She's proving that you don't need to tear others down to build yourself up. In fact, By raising those who came before her, Clark is securing her own place in basketball history.
You feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my.
As the dust settles on this controversy, one thing is clear. Clark's response has turned what could have been a divisive moment into a unifying one for women's basketball. She's shown that it's possible to be both a fierce competitor on the court and a gracious leader off it.
I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, you know, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
But the story doesn't end here. Clark's classy comeback has set the stage for an even bigger conversation. How will the rest of the basketball world react to this display of sportsmanship and maturity? Get ready, because the responses are about to pour in, and they might just surprise you.
Never be able to make everyone happy, and someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I mean, I think I have good perspective on that, and like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day, and I know have my best interests at heart.
Clark's win and Swoopes' reaction didn't just make headlines. They ignited a firestorm in the basketball world. Opinions are flying faster than a Clark three-pointer, and everyone's got something to say. Let's break down the reactions in Clark's corner. We've got a whole squad of supporters fans are flooding social media with love for the young star. They're praising her grace under pressure and calling out Swoopes for what they see as sour grapes. One fan tweeted, "Clark's response shows she's already a legend in the making. Swoopes could learn a thing or two about sportsmanship."
Could you describe what's next for Caitlin Clark, coming off of a Rookie of the Year, coming off of breaking records? And I mean, there's so much, it seems like there's so much potential. Like, I keep saying you're only 22, but I just wonder how that translates to you, what the future looks like.
Clark's win and Swoopes' reaction didn't just make headlines. They ignited a firestorm in the basketball world. Opinions are flying faster than a Clark three-pointer, and everyone's got something to say. Let's break down the reactions in Clark's corner. We've got a whole squad of supporters fans are flooding social media with love for the young star. They're praising her grace under pressure and calling out Swoopes for what they see as sour grapes. One fan tweeted, "Clark's response shows she's already a legend in the making. Swoopes could learn a thing or two about sportsmanship."
Just scratching the surface of the things I want to accomplish, and you know, I'm 22. I'm still figuring out life. I'm still figuring out where everything's going to go, and you know, I love basketball, and basketball has brought me so many amazing things, and that will continue to be probably my first passion and everything that I enjoy. And hopefully once basketball ends, I can still find things that I'm really passionate about and can do. Hopefully be an owner of a sports team one day, or open a restaurant. I don't know. Something fun. A little less stressful, maybe. Maybe a coffee shop or something.
All this mean for women's basketball? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Because this isn't just about one player or one award anymore. It's about the future of the sport itself. And that future, it's looking brighter than ever.
Kind of the impact that you're having on the game itself, especially the women's game. Like, we see now more kids taking the shot, 30 feet. Like, you've come in and done something unique to the game that we haven't seen. Can you describe what that is?
While all eyes are on Clark and Swoopes, a silent revolution is brewing in women's basketball. It's a transformation so profound it might make this current controversy seem like a mere footnote in history. Are you ready to see the bigger picture?
Love the most is just the emotion that I play with. I think it's easy to connect with. I think they can feel that I'm real on the court. But also when I step off the court, like, I try to be like very authentic and very genuine and make as much time for people as I can. Like, I never want to big time anybody or whatever it is, because like I said, I was just that young girl that was screaming for an autograph, and that takes 10 seconds of somebody's time. So try to do that as much as I can. But
this Clark Swoopes drama isn't just about two players. It's shining a spotlight on the changing landscape of women's basketball. We're seeing a clash between the old guard and the new wave of talent, and it's reshaping the entire sport. But with this success comes challenges the WNBA is at a crossroads. How do they capitalize on this newfound attention? How do they balance honoring their legends while embracing new stars? It's a tricky tightrope to walk.
Achieve your dreams. Like, this is something I always dreamed of. Maybe I didn't dream it on this magnitude of being here at this event with time. I didn't really write that down, but obviously, I was always somebody that dreamed and wanted to achieve things, and my parents never told me, you can't. It was always like, go try. Like, they probably knew at times I would fail, but they let me fail, and I think that taught me a lot of lessons about myself and about just life in general. And I think that's helped me become the woman I am, the basketball player I am, and hopefully the leader I am, and just continue.
And let's not forget the pressure on Clark herself. She's not just carrying the hopes of her team, she's carrying the future of the entire league on her shoulders. That's a lot for anyone to handle. But here's where it gets really exciting. Clark's impact goes beyond just basketball. She's changing how people see women's sports as a whole. Young girls are picking up basketballs and droves, dreaming of being the next Caitlin Clark. And it's not just kids, adults are taking notice too. The conversation around women's sports is shifting, and Clark is at the center of it all.
Along the way, I know that you've met so many people and you've talked about the young women before, but are there some encounters or interactions that have stuck with you over time?
So what's next for Clark in the league? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Will the WNBA be able to keep this momentum going? Will other young stars emerge in Clark's wake? And how will the league handle the inevitable growing pains that come with such rapid growth? One thing's for sure. Despite all the controversy, Clark's impact on women's basketball is undeniably positive. She's not just changing the game, she's elevating it. We're not just watching basketball anymore. We're witnessing history in the making. The game is evolving right before our eyes, and we've got front row seats to the show. The future of women's basketball is here, and it's brighter than ever.
A lot of things that just really put life into perspective, whether it's somebody that is sick or a young kid that was in the hospital and their one request was to come watch your game and come courtside and get to meet you, and that takes 2 minutes of your time, and that's going to make their entire life. Or whether it's the people that have signs that say, I've traveled from Canada or wherever it is, they've traveled miles and miles, spent a lot of money to have 2 hours where they're probably never going to interact with you and just are watching you on a court. I'd always try to remind myself of that going into a game, is like, people are spending a lot of time, money, and resources to come here and like enjoy this experience.
Caitlin Clark's Athlete of the Year win isn't just a personal achievement. It's a watershed moment for women's basketball. Despite the controversy, Clark's grace under fire shows she's more than just a scoring machine. She's a leader who's changing the game, both on and off the court. Clark's impact goes beyond stats and highlights. She's bringing new fans to women's basketball, driving up ticket sales, and inspiring a whole generation of young players. Her ability to handle criticism with class sets a powerful example for athletes in all sports. As fans, we're not just watching games anymore. We're witnessing the evolution of women's basketball in real time. Clark's rise marks the beginning of a new era, one where women's sports command the spotlight they deserve. The game will never be the same, and that's something worth celebrating. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.